The Green Bay Packers is where we are jumping into first in the NFC North. Their schedule looks like this with 5 primetime games and a nice little ho in Miami against the Dolphins on Christmas Day. The Packers schedule looks like this. AJ, I know I've loaded you up. You've gone back to back and now back on talking points here, but I wanted to start with you first in the storyline game for the Packers because I really like where you're going here. So what's the biggest storyline for the Green Bay Packers in 2022?
Yeah, my storyline is how good are Aaron Rodgers' new toys. He lost his Woody, he lost his Buzz Lightyear, but there's a Slinky still available in Christian Watson who can get down the field and jump. there's Rex and Romeo Dubs. That man, he's a Tyrannosaurus with them hands, firm grips. All jokes aside, how good are Aaron Rodgers' new toys? Real deal. Sorry, I couldn't help it. It was too fun. We look at it, you lost Davante Adams, the biggest piece, his go-to guy. You lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling, another go-to guy, leaving with Allen Lazard, who stepped up in big moments. But when you really look at it, with Davante Adams being gone, we're talking about 150 targets a season that are up for grabs. Everybody wanted the Packers to go get receivers. They got a good one in Christian Watson. Despite where he came from, a small school at North Dakota State, he's a good receiver, and he's a guy that a lot of people think is going to have a great start to the NFL. Romeo Dubs out of Nevada was Carson Strong's go-to guy, and I know that's not a big name. I know we're not looking at Carson Strong like, oh man, he had Romeo Dubs, he's going to be great. But Aaron Rodgers is the type of player who can make wide receivers, and he can make them better. And I think with those two young guys and the additions or the leftovers of Randall Cobb and what Allen Lazard has been able to do with Aaron Rodgers in the last couple seasons, I don't think they should miss too much of a beat. Yes, you're gonna feel the Davante Adams loss, but Aaron Rodgers knows how to win games with what he has. And I look forward to seeing if these new toys are gonna make Watson feel like, or make Rodgers feel like he hasn't really missed a beat, or if they're gonna take a serious step back this year and have to go back to the drawing board and come at it next season.
Remember the song J Rock wrote a few years ago? If everything else, win, 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 win. That's what the Packers need to do. I mean, every single year they do win. I guess they win the regular season. They win the regular season. Congrats. Everyone's talking about them. Watch out, Super Bowl contenders, Green Bay. Here we go again. Let's jump on it until they don't. They don't get anywhere. Yeah, good. I mean, you look at this. It's ridiculous. Year after year. 13 straight wins in 3 straight years under Matt LaFleur, right? 3 straight years of 13-plus wins. You ain't got nothing to prove. You haven't even been to the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. I'm sick and tired of this narrative of the Packers every single year. I know you lose Davante Adams this year, but that shouldn't change anything. You got one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league, and I'm sick and tired of it. I want him to start winning football games when it matters most. And until he does that, I'm not going to feel any sort of different towards the Green Bay Packers.
Differency.
Making words, like making up words here. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know if differency is a word there.
Yeah, I just making up. I think we're just making it up as we go here. We're just making it up as we go. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They have nothing to show for it other than those nice records and some conference championship appearances and things like that. 2022 is on the horizon, though. Aaron, what is the game or maybe games you're looking forward to most when you look at the Packers schedule?
Well, I think what you want to do is you want to compare them to the best, right? And their schedule, when you look at it at first glance, it's not very strong. We can look at their division games, which, we always say division games are tough. You're looking at a Tampa Bay when they have to go on the road. And then outside of that, you're looking at the Bills and the Rams. I'm looking directly that Sunday night football game at Buffalo on the road, because if you're going to be a team that's going to compete in the NFC, you're going to have to be able to beat quality football teams on the road. And early in the season, you might catch a Tampa slipping. By week 7 or 8, usually teams are starting to get into form. And I think that's where a Buffalo matchup is going to be a true test for a Green Bay Packers team who now has to figure out how to replace Davante Adams. I know AJ mentioned Davante Adams might not be as big of a loss as some people may say, because we know that there's other guys that can step up. They have Aaron Rodgers. But let's not forget, Davante Adams had 90 yards in that game against the 49ers last year in that playoff game in the first half. He did nothing in the second half. Green Bay finished with 10 points. They have shown consistently that offense can be stagnant without a go-to guy. So is Christian Watson going to be that guy? Is it going to be a Romeo Doubs? Or does Alan Lazard take that leap and now become the number one? We forgot to mention Sammy Watkins, who may or may not be on the roster at the time. But I think that game against Buffalo is that first true test. You get a Tre'Davious White, you get a Kyer Elam, you get those safeties back there that are two of the best safeties in football. And now you say, okay, who's going to go win these matchups when we need those matchups won? And I'm going to say this, maybe it's a bold take. All the stuff I've talked about Christian Watson, he's going to be the best fantasy receiver. It would not shock me if the number one receiver at the end of the year for the Green Bay Packers is Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at that.
When it comes to like receptions, getting that work, it would not shock me if he sees a ton of targets in that offense and he's playing more out of the backfield in the pass game with A.J. Dillon taking the bulk of the carries. It would not shock me at all unless one of those guys on the outside can actually step up and gain Aaron Rodgers' trust, because we know how he is when he doesn't trust guys. He's not throwing you the football.
And technically last year, Davante Adams, this is the drastic stat here. Last year, Davante Adams, 169 targets from Aaron Rodgers. The next closest had 65. That person was Aaron Jones. 5 ahead of Alan Lazard, 10 ahead of MVS, and quite a lot ahead of Randall Cobb. So, I mean, this is you might be onto something when considering Aaron Jones being the wide receiver 1 for the Green Bay Packers. Let's see what we have them looking like in terms of standings. Aaron has 12-5 for the Packers. AJ is at 13-4. Dylan's at 12-5, and I am also at 12-5. And AJ, you know how I like to do this. What is one game that you have the Packers winning that most would think they would lose?
I took them on a W at that Los Angeles Rams game, Monday Night Football Week 15. It's a primetime game. It's a big one. And this is a game that a lot of people will be thinking that, the Rams are repeating. But as we looked at last year, and when the question marks came at the Rams, there's times where they're going to have their faults, and Matt Stafford won't be at his best. He'll have some interception-prone games. And, I mean, you're talking about a guy like Jair Alexander wanting to be up for the challenge of going up against a good receiver. I mean, I think he's chomping at the bit for a matchup with Cooper Kupp. You know how we feel about Cooper Kupp. Great receiver. We don't think he's that number one guy that everybody wanted to say he was when it comes to all the receivers in the league. So I think that's a game that the Rams could get caught slipping a little bit. And let's not forget, Green Bay's a good team too. So while some people may just look at them because they won the Super Bowl and give them the benefit of the doubt, that's one game where I think the Packers are going to come out ahead. Kind of like Arizona's game last year when we had those questions about the 2 undefeated teams and who was best, and the Packers got the best of them.
I actually have Green Bay winning that game as well.
So do I.
I don't know if
I think it's an easy one. LA going across country in the snow potentially on a Monday in December. Not a chance in hell they win that football game.
Yeah, I have them winning that. Dylan, you always do that. Like, I don't know what it is with kids your age nowadays. Like, you guys just always say like just the most ridiculous shit. Like this. There's no.
I actually have the Rams lose. I have the Rams winning that game. So I have the Rams beating Green Bay then. But again, could you say that they're not because it's in December and it's in Green Bay? Yeah, but I have Green Bay struggling and again on the road. Obviously, for the most part, games like Miami, they'll probably lose once to Minnesota, as they always do. At Buffalo, at Philly, is going to be a tough game. But I have them losing to the Rams as well. I told you I think the Rams will start slow but get hot, and you'll see that Super Bowl team as we come down the stretch. But the Packers are going to be good. I don't think that's like 4 or 5. Right. I don't think anybody's debating whether the Packers still have the team based on their draft and what they've done to win that division. It really boils down to what Dylan said. What do you do in the playoffs? Do you lay an egg again, or does Aaron Rodgers get over that hump now that he's making $50 million and make the difference? And I'm sorry. I have to see one of those weapons step up, because you lose Davante Adams. I don't care how good your defense is. It's hard to say you're better without Davante Adams than you were last year.
Do you think that the regular, and you said this from right off Jump Street, like their schedule, it like you want to see them get tested against the big guys, but there's not a lot of big guys on their schedule. Do you think that that's a bad thing heading into the playoffs when you only play? We got Tampa as a playoff teams from last year: Tampa, New England, Buffalo,
Sorry,
Tennessee. I mean, but looking at it this year, it's really Tampa, Buffalo, and the Rams and Dallas. There's not many teams on the schedule that you're like, okay, it's real.
Most of those teams that you said kind of regressed. Those Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys even regressed a little bit. They don't have the consistent tests like we saw in the AFC West, right? Where every week it's like, damn, look at that schedule down the stretch. It's like Green Bay has a tough opponent. Then they got like 4 or 5 opponents that are, winnable games. Then it's a tough opponent, and then they do it all over again. So I think that lends to being a little complacent as you enter the playoffs. You haven't been as battle tested consistently throughout the year, and that could cause a team that maybe they do get a first round bye. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But that first game, they might breeze past the first round wild card win, and then that second round game, they're not really up to the task because they haven't played enough of those quality opponents.
They played 6 playoff teams last year in their schedule. This year's a little bit different. We'll see. I mean, like the Packers regular season they're almost like under that, like what New England was with Tom Brady. Like the regular season is what it is. They're going to make the playoffs. We'll move on from that. Show me what you can do in the playoffs.